Okay, this video tutorial is going to be a really quick rundown of how to create and use docs, sheets, slides, forms, and Drive, all aspects of Google Suite. And so first I kind of want to just show how everything mirrors Microsoft Office. So you might be familiar with OneDrive. That's Microsoft Office's storage. And Google's is Google Drive. And so you sign in using your Knox County Schools email address and password, and you'll know you're successful. Up here you'd see the KCS logo. So Drive is really nice because you can organize all of your important forms, and you can put PDFs, Microsoft documents like Word or Excel or PowerPoints. You can store all that here as well. Um, but so Drive is where you store everything. You can create folders, you can upload files, and you can create new content. You can star items that you use frequently. You can look at the items you viewed most recently, and you can create share drives. And so there's a lot that Google Drive can do for storage. And so the content that you can create in Google are docs, which are like Microsoft Word, sheets, which are like Microsoft Excel, slides, which are like PowerPoint, and forms, which are just a survey collection tool. You can use them as quizzes as well. You can actually make them graded. But the most common way to use them is as a survey tool. So I'm going to run through how to create all of these really quickly and just basic use for each of these in this video tutorial. So via your Drive, you can go to New and go to Google Doc, or you can click your Apps flyout, which is this 3x3 grid, this Google Apps flyout, and you can get to Docs that way. This way will show you all the docs that you've created, and it'll also give you some templates. Um, you can start blank, or you could use a template. So that's one way to start a new document, through the apps flyout or via Drive, New, Google Doc. And once you're inside Google Doc, it's just a content editor, a word processor, just like Microsoft Word. You can, you know, type. You have all kinds of fonts and formats, um, and so it really is pretty intuitive on how to use. You can insert tables and drawings and charts, and so it's very user friendly, and it saves. You can see up here all changes saved in Drive. It updates pretty quickly, saving all changes saved in Drive. So it's nice because I don't know about you, but I've worked in Microsoft Word before and made a document, and the computer crashes before I saved and I lost it. If you have any content, when you click up here, it'll make that the name, or you can give it a name. And default, it'll save it in your Drive, but if you want to save it into some folder that you've created, you could choose it from this point as well. And so that's Google Docs. So how do teachers use this? They use it to present content, primarily to create content pages, create information. I know like syllabus, our staff handbook was created using a Google Doc. So it's very user friendly. To do a sheet, which is like an Excel file, it's the same way. You can get there through Sheets, or you can use the app flyout and go to Sheets. And this is great because you've got all of these templates, right? So like, let's say you were wanting to make an attendance sheet, you can use this attendance template to get started, and then it kind of makes to where you can just put in your student names here. And it kind of gives you dates pre-filled in and such, and I'm sure it will total You can see it's got the count if. It's got some functions already embedded in here. So it'll count the number of L's you enter, the number of E's you enter, and the number of U's you enter. Has a key to kind of explain what everything is. So you can use the templates, which are great. And again, all of it is saved instantaneously. What I use this for primarily, and what a lot of teachers use this for, is representing data, right? You can copy and paste data from the internet, from a research study or from math problems, and then it gives students access to a pretty powerful set of um, data processing. They can find the sum of a range of values. They can find the average of a range of values. They can find median of a range of values. Um, I don't know if it does mode. They do. That shouldn't be a mode there, NA, because there is no mode in this particular data set. So that's a pretty efficient way. You can also use it to create tardy logs or bathroom sign out logs or attendance sheets or um, homework trackers. That's a lot of common ways that you can use Google Sheets. In the advanced video, I'll actually go over some of the more advanced formulas. You can hit your little sigma here and give all these functions. So you can see um, there's a bunch of them. You can compute no Roman numerals, you can find absolute value, you can do, they're all kinds of formulas. And it used to be that Google Sheets was not as good as Microsoft Excel. It's getting better. It's still not quite as powerful, but in the advanced video, I tell you about a function called query that exists in Google Sheets that doesn't exist in Microsoft Excel, and it is fantastic. So maybe check that out. The next one is slides. So slides are like PowerPoint. And again, you could get there through the flyout. And just like all the other flyouts, it'll have some templates, lesson plans, book report, field trip, all kinds of different templates that you could use for your presentation. You could also get there by going to New and Google Slides. And so this works exactly like PowerPoint. Um, you can change information, you can insert videos, new slides, images. You can change the background, add transitions, make a fully functioning presentation to where then you can hit present and it'll enter in your presentation. It's got some functions like it has a pointer down here where you can kind of, so I use this a lot of times to make video tutorials because I can create my presentation ahead of time and then use this pointer to kind of highlight some stuff. And you can add captions to it for when you speak. So it's a really great video tutorial tool as well. And that's about it. The ways that teachers would use this are pretty obvious. You can use this to create content in a way that allows students to progress through slide by slide, or you can use it to make video tutorials. That's my favorite way to do it. And so the next video that you should probably watch is how to share all of this with your students. The last thing I'll show in this video is Google Form. And again, you can get there by going to here, or you can expand the flyout. And Google Forms integrates with Google Sheets, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So they have some templates up here. So this is just a simple exit ticket template. And so it has them leave their name, their email, one important thing you learned, did you feel prepared, what would help make today's lesson more effective. And so this is what the students will see when you share the survey, and it'll allow them um, to fill out this survey. And after they submit, there are two ways that you can use the data. On the teacher end, you can come in to your survey and see that there's a response. And if I click on response, I can see the summary. I can look at it on a question by question basis. Question number 2, question number 3, question number 4, and I can see each individual's actual answer. And so this becomes powerful when you get multiple students who fill out the survey. You can kind of, and you have, like, let's say multiple choice, you can see how many selected letter B. Or if you have a check down box, you can see how many selected which or how many selected of each topic. And so it's a great data tool, and you don't have to have any Excel or Google Sheet knowledge to be able to do that. You can see kind of and get this nice summary of what's going on. If you really want to just focus in on what the email addresses are, you can look at that right there. If you are wanting to have a little bit more control of manipulation of your data, you'll want to, when you're in the responses, click on this create spreadsheet. It's going to ask you to create a new one or select an existing one. So we're going to create a new one. And this is going to pull open a Google Sheet that has those responses. And this works pretty instantaneously. And so you can see, I think all of these were optional. Yeah, name was the only required one in this particular survey. So this student didn't submit anything else other than the name. You can see that showed up pretty instantaneously. And now you have this Google Sheet that you can do formulas with. You can do pivot tables and filter out data, and kind of have a lot more control of the manipulation. The only thing I want to elaborate on Google Forms is you do need to pay attention to the settings. And so if you want them to have to sign in to their student.knoxschools.org, you would check this box. Most of the time when I work with students, I find that they are not logged into their school email address 90% of the time. And so if you uncheck that, that'll allow anybody who has the link to be able to fill out the survey. You could change the way it looks by, like, showing a progress bar or show the link to submit another response. You can make it a quiz where you go in and add the right answers, and it'll actually score it. So that's nice. And those are all options that you want to keep in mind from the settings. And so once you have it created, we'll be ready to move on to how to share it with students, and that'll be the next video. If you have any questions, please let me know.